This week, the channels asked students, how have your parents' political views influenced you?
My mother is predominantly more of a moderate or a liberal. My father is pretty strongly Republican. I spent more time around my mother due to my parents being divorced, so I think in general the political attitude that was fostered in that environment was a little bit more, would definitely lean toward liberal values, pretty open and accepting about sexual orientation, skin color, and all these gender identity or sexual identity or racial identity things. I typically lean on the liberal side of things in terms of my mother, and so I've basically picked that up, and that's kind of a product of the culture that I was in as well.
So I think it affected me and how I view the world, and also just how I grew up, is that being anything besides like a Democrat wasn't necessarily an option. It was kind of poo-pooed.
My parents didn't really have like a lot of political views growing up. Like they never personally subscribed to either party. I would say they were like neutral or independent. So they influenced me in a sense of, you should just pick something that you like. I was also raised as a Jehovah's Witness, so it was kind of like politics weren't like a real thing. Not until, I would say, the Trump election did we all signed up together as a family. And I think that was the first time we had ever actually gotten political. I mean, we've done I've been to marches and things like that, but before that, we didn't have like a real stake in politics because we're just like,
Both of my parents came out of the South and were what we would describe as Wallace Democrats, which at that time they were, I guess we'd say, fairly racist. And so for me, believe it or not, my first registration was as a Republican because that was the opposite. I thought Democrats were the party of the South and with racism. And so I decided to go in the opposite direction of my parents. So the influence my parents had on me was actually a negative.
The Democratic primaries coming up, I made a point to not have anyone in my family tell me who they were thinking of voting for, just because I wanted to see what I could come up with. And even then, the top two of our top three were the same. And that was just like, oh, okay. Definitely got influence there.
I would say they haven't really influenced me too much. Mainly, I disagree with my dad on a lot of topics. My mom is more liberal, but more hesitant to talk about politics just because she feels it's pretty divisive. So a lot of the discussions that I've had about politics have been with friends online or in person, so they haven't really influenced me too much, I would think.
I was born on election day, and my mom voted in labor. They gave her a ballot. And I've always thought that was really funny.